Welcome to the Connected College podcast. I'm your host, Elliot Felix. I've helped more than 100 colleges and universities change what they offer, how they operate, and how they're organized to enable student success. And if you're a leader in higher ed and you think that the silos and separations get in the way of student success, then this podcast and my upcoming book, The Connected College, are for you. We're here to learn and work together to bust silos, question tradition, and forge partnerships so that students feel connected to their college, their community, their coursework, and their careers. So I've really enjoyed making 49 episodes of the How to Get the Most Out of College podcast. And for this, the 50th episode, where we transition to the Connected College podcast, I could think of no better person to talk through that with than Mike Palmer, who's been the wizard behind the scenes, making it all happen as a producer for the show and also a podcaster in his own right for Trending in Education. Welcome, Mike.
Thanks, Elliot. Great to be here. Just to start, what did you learn from How to Get the Most Out of College? What did you learn from doing the podcast?
Well, I learned a whole hell of a lot from you, from the students, from the experts that were on the show. There's only so much insight that can fit on one page. And How to Get the Most Out of College has 127 evidence-based tips, what to do, why to do it, how to do it, a story of a student putting it in practice. But, that can only cover so much. So what I really enjoyed was like unpacking each of those tips with a student, with an expert to dig into them in greater detail. Thinking back, the episodes I did with students were really great to hear their perspective. I work with so many colleges and universities that want to be student-centered, but we don't hear their voices often enough. And I think the expert episodes that really resonated with me, those are the ones that dig into strategies for student success in detail. So how to get involved, how to find a mentor, how to do an internship, how to conduct research, how to do real-world class projects. These were really inspiring.
That's great. But then why the shift now to connected colleges?
Well, funny you should ask that. I've been enabling student success from both the institutional and the student perspectives. I really like alternating between the two of them. In my work with more than 100 colleges and universities, I've been using design thinking to help improve their campus, the support services, the technology, so they could create remarkable student experiences. Then on the kind of student and parent side, my book, How to Get the Most Out of College, shares what I've learned from this and other experts in the field to help students and families make college work for them. And now I really want to create a similar book, a kind of a counterpart to that, that's for people in higher ed, helping college and university leaders, compiling the evidence, the success stories, the strategies that'll help them foster student success at their institution, within each functional area. So looking at, administration, academics, athletics, advancement, career, library, student affairs, board governance, technology, facilities, you name it.
And what exactly is a connected college?
Well, if you think about the conventional wisdom in higher ed, it's kind of like stay in your lane. Traditions are our strength. More is better. Corporate partnerships, companies will ruin us. Demographics are destiny.
Yeah.
What are we going to do about this cliff? We got to create broad appeal. We got to get consensus before acting. A connected college is where you almost do the opposite of that, right? Where you're busting silos, you're seeing agility rather than tradition as your strength. You're seeing ways to integrate things, instead of do more with less, you're trying to do less with more and be focused. You're trying to forge those partnerships. You're thinking like differentiation is your destiny, not demographics. You're building niche communities where students find their identity, they find their people, they find their place as part of their purpose, and you're making bold decisions. And so if you put all that together, Connected College is one where students feel connected to the institution, their community, their coursework, their career path, and where the staff and the faculty and the administration, they all work together to make this happen. Where instead of silos and separation, you find collaboration and connection. This really requires leaders to adapt by questioning tradition, by busting silos, by forging partnerships inside the institution and with companies and communities around them.
And what can listeners expect on the Connected College podcast?
They can expect me to share the insights that I'm learning as I'm writing the book. This is kind of an inside look. And many of the conversations in the feed are interviews I conducted while researching connected colleges and writing the book. And as I talk to all these different experts that have something to offer, whether it's academics or advancement or athletics or something else that begins with A, in each conversation, I'm asking about how do you define student success? What role does your function, career, library, student affairs, they don't all have to start with A. What do they play in student success? What's changing in their world? How can they respond to changes? And what are the examples that inspire them at their institution across the country? And so it's things like Tom Ellett, who's the CXO of Quinnipiac, how he's created all these advisory boards that are ways to get feedback from students and faculty and employers and community members so that they can continuously improve. Or Maggie Thomas from University of Minnesota, who's finding new ways for employers to engage students as part of the recruiting process, not just showing up to an info session or a career fair, which is kind of passive, but actually finding ways to actively engage students, like teaching them a skill or organizing a hackathon. Or you'll hear from Cedric Howard, who's the VP of Enrollment Management, Student Affairs at University of Northern Colorado, about how he recruits and retains communities where students find their niche instead of just relying on like the Big Tent football games. Or Nancy Felix from Carnegie Mellon, no relation.
I hear she has a great last name.
I couldn't agree more. But how she uses data to combine high tech and high touch to enable advancement. There's a lot of really inspiring stories and stats and strategies in there.
Yeah, and it's all coming up soon in the feed. Stay tuned, subscribe. Where can people learn more? If you pique their interest, where should they go?
The best way to stay in touch is with my Connected College newsletter, where I'm going to be sharing episodes, insights, even draft excerpts so people can read it and give me feedback and get a kind of a hot take or a quick take in advance. Thanks for listening to the Connected College podcast. Subscribe to my Connected College newsletter at elliottfelix.com for insights and excerpts from my upcoming book, tools you can download, and special offers. You can also find more information there on talks I've given, articles I've written, and upcoming events. And please support the podcast by rating it and reviewing it wherever you're listening. Let's create connected colleges together where all students succeed.